Hey there, innovation champions. Melissa Dinwiddie here. When I tell you that my most powerful lesson about innovation came from organizing a grassroots movement, you might wonder what that has to do with tech leadership, but stick with me. This story could transform how you think about team connection and breakthrough innovation. Back in December, I gathered 12 people in a living room to tackle what seemed like an impossible challenge. Now, we weren't developing software or even launching a product. We were building a response team for civic emergencies. But the principles that emerged mirror exactly what I see in the most innovative tech companies. And here's what fascinated me. In less than 2 months, about 7 weeks, actually, 7, 8 weeks, that initial group of 12 exploded to 75 members. And earlier this week, I helped orchestrate, I was actually one of about 15 different local group leaders that orchestrated a last-minute event that drew over 900 attendees. The secret? It wasn't better processes or fancier tools. Actually, in fact, all we used to organize that event was basically email. The three elements that I've discovered that you can take advantage of here are absolutely essential for innovation are connection, communication, and creativity. And this mirrors what I see in tech organizations every day. When teams are disconnected, innovation doesn't just slow down, it dies. And the cost is staggering. Consider this, a disconnected workplace costs companies around $25,000 per employee annually in errors and miscommunications. And if you read the blog post or the newsletter version of this, I have a link to the study. For a tech company with 5,000 employees, that's like throwing $125 million out the window every year. But here's what really gets me. According to recent studies, and again, I have the link here, if you look at the text version of this, when employees collaborate effectively, they work 15% faster, 73% produce better work, and 60% are more innovative. And that's not just data. I have seen this transformation firsthand. So let me show you how this works through my Create the Impossible framework, because of course, that's the lens that I like to talk about this stuff through. So the first step of my Create the Impossible framework is play hard. And at every meeting of my rapidly growing group, I start with what might seem counterintuitive. I start with play. We do connection activities that spark laughter and break down barriers. Why do we do this? Because play creates psychological safety. It's the foundation for both trust and innovation. Now, in tech teams, this might look a bit different, but the principle is the same. And honestly, I would actually recommend, it doesn't matter if you're a tech team or a civic engagement group or whatever kind of group you are, start with some kind of play in order to get your people connected. When was the last time your team felt safe enough to share a crazy idea? That's where the breakthrough innovation begins. So that's the first step of my Create the Impossible framework is play hard. Step 2, make crap. Here's where it gets really interesting. In our organizing work, we didn't wait until we had, everything all perfectly planned out. We jumped in and we tried things. So that event that drew over 900 people this week, our sound system was not the best. It was probably fine for the 200 people that we thought might show, but it was actually not at all adequate. It was woefully inadequate for that size crowd. I, at one point, was standing, we started in one spot, we moved to another spot. I could hear perfectly fine in the first spot. Second spot, I couldn't hear a darn thing. But now we know what we need for next time. And as always, some plans work brilliantly, others flop, but each attempt teaches us something valuable. Does that sound familiar? Tech leaders? It's the same principle behind rapid prototyping and agile development. The teams that innovate fastest are often the ones most willing to share imperfect work. So that's step 2 of my Create the Impossible framework. Make crap. And step 3 is learn fast. It's true that the event this week wasn't perfect, but because we had built strong connections and open communication channels, we could adapt quickly when things went sideways. And this is exactly what innovative tech teams, any kind of innovative team, needs. You need the ability to pivot. You need the ability to learn rapidly, supported by those strong team connections. And the data backs this up. Again, I have links to this if you are looking at the written version of this content. With only 33% of employees truly engaged at work, only a third, costing Americans about $1.9 trillion in lost productivity, we cannot afford to ignore team connection. So what can you do about this? Well, guess what? I got you covered. Here are 3 practical strategies that I've seen work both in grassroots organizing and in tech companies and other kinds of companies too. So the first one is connection before content, or connection through content. Start your meetings with connection. Don't start fire hosing content at your people in a meeting. You've got to connect first. Take 5 minutes for a quick connection activity. I know some people might feel like this is wasting time, but remember, disconnected teams waste far more time through miscommunication and disengagement. And if you're skilled, you can actually bring content in through the connection activities. Connection is actually one of the best ways to deliver your content. And this is actually one of my superpowers. So if that feels beyond you to do, schedule an innovation strategy session with me. You can do that in the link below if you're watching this on YouTube. And let's talk about how I can help you with that. So connection before content, or connection through content. Second strategy for you is to create idea zones. Designate specific times where nothing is too wild to suggest, and frame these as playful explorations rather than, serious brainstorming sessions, because we want people feeling as free and easy to take risks here as possible. Third strategy is to build cross-functional bridges. So just as my organizing work brought together people from diverse backgrounds, your innovation potential really multiplies, like exponentially, when you connect people across different departments and different specialties. Remember, innovation doesn't die from lack of good ideas. It dies from lack of connection. It's all about connecting those dots. So here's your challenge for this week. Look at your team's calendar. How much time is dedicated to real connection? I'm not talking about status updates. I'm not talking about project reviews, but actual human to human connection. Maybe it's time to experiment. Try dedicating the first 5 minutes of every meeting to connection activities. And watch what happens to team dynamics. Watch what happens to communication. And yes, watch what happens to innovation. Ready to transform your team's connection and drive breakthrough innovation? Click the link in the description to book a complimentary innovation strategy session. And let's explore how the Create the Impossible framework can revolutionize your team dynamics and unlock their full creative potential. If you found this deep dive into team connection and innovation valuable, hit that like button and subscribe to join our community of innovation champions. Don't forget to ring that notification bell to learn more strategies for driving innovation in your organization. Until next time, stay curious, stay playful, and keep creating the impossible. See you next time. Ciao.